You are listening to the Final Say Radio Show, a Rappaport Media production, with your host Brett Rappaport and co-host John Rappaport.
We have our guest, a very special guest, Erin Merryn, and her new book is An Unimaginable Act. And first of all, Erin, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us on really this. It's such an incredibly important issue. And, of course, children are our most valuable resource. And we really do appreciate what you're doing here.
Thank you. I appreciate you seeing the importance in it.
Now, just to let you know, I have 3 children, a 11-year-old daughter, 12 and 13-year-old sons, and I plan on having more children. And so I understand how, you know, the relationship of being a parent and having children. And you always fear that something bad could happen to your children. And I think I have to tell you, you are so incredibly brave for what you've been doing these past years. The courage for you to stand up and just to be able to talk about it is really incredible. So if you could just give a little background.
Well, it's such a silent epidemic, child abuse, that I decided to put a face and voice on it to wake up parents in society who think it's not a big deal to the reality of it's not just stranger danger that can hurt your children. Yet in school every year they're taught stranger danger. In my life, I was taught that every year. And when I went off to kindergarten and had my very first overnight with my best friend, it was her uncle that was like the father figure in the home, was the abuser. And that went on for several years until I was 8 years old, for like 3.5 years. And we finally moved. So I get away from one perpetrator. And once again, I'm being warned on stranger danger, don't look for the lost puppy, don't take candy from a stranger. The last thing I realized was that, you know, it's not just strangers, and one's a lot closer to me in my own life. And at age 11, I woke up to a family member abusing me, and that went on from 11, 12, 13. The only message I was getting from both these perpetrators over 6 years was, this is our little secret, no one will believe you, so don't tell anybody. And that's the silent epidemic there. We don't teach kids the educational pieces. You will be believed. Don't keep it a secret. And that's where I made it my mission to go publish this book called An Unimaginable Act on how I resigned from my full-time job to give children the voice I never had as a kid on how to speak up and tell if they're being abused.
Now, the fallout of the abuse that you had gone through, you had a lot of buildup in rage and anger and bitterness, which is completely understandably. But how did this impact your life, and what kind of things where did it take you?
Oh, I went down a very self-destructive path in the beginning. I went the whole self-injury, taking razor blades, did suicide. It was constantly haunting me, the nightmares, the flashbacks. It took finally allowing to let go of the shame and guilt that I carried by confronting one of my perpetrators. And through confronting him, after 7 months of corresponding, he asked for forgiveness. And I realized the only person that anger hurts and staying angry, the perpetrators can't feel your anger. Only you can. It's not, you're giving them another day of joy and happiness. So I learned to let go of all that anger, hatred, and bitterness. And instead of doing the self-harm and hurting myself by staying angry, do something positive with this. So I did forgive my 2 perpetrators and decided that I wanted to move forward with my life and, you know, show that my life is not defined by evil, but how I've overcome evil. And as I like to tell people, no matter what has happened in your life, you don't have to let it be the worst thing in the world. And I often tell people that are continuing to look back at the past with something they can't change, you can't change the past, so why are you looking there? Focus on something you can change, like the future. That's what I'm doing with my life, changing the future to give children a voice through Erin's Law. Erin's Law is age-appropriate curriculum in the schools, preschool to 12th grade, that requires every school to teach kids in the prevention of childhood sexual abuse.
No, and it's really... I'm sorry, go on.
I was going to say it's been passed now in 8 states, and I have 18 more introducing it. So I have half the country on board.
And that's fantastic, but of course we want to see all 50 states and hopefully other parts of the world start to accept these laws to help protect children.
Yes, and my goal, because I am determined to get it passed in all 50 states, which it will happen one day. Mm-hmm. I'll see to it, but I do plan. Everyone asks me, what do you do after Erin's laws in every state? I said, there are children in Australia, Germany, and every other country that this happens to. I'm taking it international.
Now, I was reading a lot of your material and watching different videos on your website. And by the way, if you go to Erin, that's E-R-I-N, Merryn, MERRYN.net, you'll see all this information. You could find out how to pick up her books, how to support the organization and Erin. But 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys are abused?
Yes, by the time they reach the age of 18. So in other words, these kids are sitting in our classrooms. You just can't see the physical signs; they're invisible to scar.
It's incredible. And when you mention this, the self-destructive behavior, I guess we should be looking at every kid who's engaging in something that we would consider to be, in that realm, and address this issue.
I cover in this book an Unimaginable Act. I cover the warning signs for parents to look for, from the bedwetting to the family member that all of a sudden wants to spend an extra deal of time with their kids suddenly, an increase in amount of time, kids that are wearing extra layered clothes, kids who don't want to suddenly be around somebody that had no problems with before, grades tend to change, school grades, behavior. That was a big red flag in my life. They had me labeled BD and emotionally disturbed and all this stuff, but no one was seeing the, important warning signs. They just brushed it off. Oh, she's a 6, 7-year-old going through a phase. She'll outgrow it. So I cover that in this book of warning signs and how parents can sit down and talk to their kids about this.
No, that's great. And so the law, it's passed in 8 states. Are they similar? Are they similar?
Pretty similar, yes.
Laws? Okay. So the intention is that hopefully each state passes a law that's pretty much what we have here. Have you had any? How has that been in dealing with the different legislators? It seems from the videos I've seen, there's been a lot of positiveness. But have you had any issues or things that you were surprised by?
Yes, the state of New York has killed the bill 2 years in a row.
Really?
The senators have all supported it in favor, but in the House, it has to go through the Education Committee, and the chair, Kathy Nolan, who's in the House, she's the one that oversees all the bills for the chair of the House Education Committee. And she refuses for 2 years in a row to allow the bill to be heard. She won't even let her colleague vote on the bill. And it can't be voted on unless she calls it because she's against the bill. 2 years in a row, she's allowed this to die because she's against school mandates. So now I'm rallying everybody and anywhere to, write the, state House, speaker to get involved with. She doesn't realize who she's dealing with. I don't give up.
No, and it's
I
very
will pound
surprising.
on her doors. It's sad. I'm asking for an hour out of a school year. I think we give an hour out of a school year to give kids a voice. And it's sad and unfortunate she's this way.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I would think that some of the first states would be like New York, New Jersey, California. By the way, we could certainly try to help you the best we can in New York and New Jersey, and maybe even Pennsylvania with some of the contacts that we have. We'd be more than happy to.
Yeah, Pennsylvania, we're having the same problem. The committee there, the guy is not motivated to move the bill to be heard, and it's going to die.
It's very, very interesting why they wouldn't.
So we need the Senate in the it's the Senate in Pennsylvania that and you think with Pennsylvania with the stories they've had of abuse.
Well, it's very interesting because we look at the role of government. The government's supposed to do the things that people can't really do on their own. Like we're all capable of figuring out how to get an education. You can go to school. You could figure out a career path for yourself. Government doesn't have to tell you how to do that. But when it comes to protecting children and protecting our security, that's where you expect government to step in. So it should be a very easy thing, in my mind, to get all levels of government to want to participate. Maybe they don't like the exact bill you have, but to do something.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. So, Erin, what's next for you? I mean, I know you're
taking this book. Taking this law federal. I'm meeting with legislators in D.C. on Wednesday, and my goal is to Tuesday and Wednesday, and to hopefully, this is common sense. This is not something that I should be having to go before every state capitol and convince the legislators to do this. We require tornado drills, bus drills, fire drills in the schools, DARE, bully intervention. This is common sense. So that's my goal right now, is to get national.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I think that the impact of a child going through this is much more significant than what, I know there's extreme bullying, but I mean, really?
Exactly. Make time for that.
And when it comes to drugs, I mean, parents could teach kids, they could take responsibility for that. But in this case, I think a lot of parents don't even know what the signs are or what to look for.
Yeah, or how to start the conversation.
Exactly. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, how do you? It's a very difficult conversation to have. And so, Erin, again, I think this is great. We will. I've actually over the weekend I put out your information numerous times on Facebook, trying to make people aware of this. And
thank you. I appreciate it.
How tough has it been? I mean, do you have moments where you have to step back and really think about what's going through your mind, or have you moved on enough? Are there enough positive things going on where it's a little easier for you? I'm totally driven by this. Yeah, even when I have to deal with legislators that are difficult. They all are.
I get it exactly. I know we'll get it done.
And I have to say two things that just from everything I've read, forgiveness I think is very understated. I think it's hard to anything you go through. I mean, even just going through a divorce, I think to be able to move on in the next relationship or whatever that you have to reach some sort of level of forgiveness to be able to move on from that, as you do with anything. And then you've just having faith. I think faith is incredibly important and helps you through these times. And I think faith is extremely important for really anybody. So.
That is definitely what happened in my life. Is my faith was huge in helping me move forward and forgive and let go.
I have to say I've seen you interviewed. Actually, interestingly enough, my wife works for Children's Services in New Jersey, and she deals with all types of issues. And she saw you at a seminar that she attended probably 2 or 3 years ago. But when I mentioned your name, she knew exactly who you were, and was that I was going to be interviewing you. So I know that you've been at this for numerous years now, and I know that you're going to stick with it for as long as it takes. And again, it's terrible that you had to go through this, but what you were doing today and how you've managed to turn this all around into a positive. You're a role model. I don't know if you realize that, but you are.
Thank you.
And so,
just trying to go out there and help others.
Well, it's a good thing that you're doing. And everybody, you can go. Your books can be found at Amazon and
Barnes and
Noble and Books A Million. And of course, again, it's erinmerryn.net. That's ERINMERRYN.net. And you can go on there and support you guys.
You can also go on, Erin's Law Facebook page. Just type in Erin's Law.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll friend that as well and pass that around.
Yeah.
So, Erin, it was a pleasure. I'm going to be in D.C.
Thank you so much.
I'll be in D.C. Wednesday myself for something on Middle East policy. But
nice.
Have a safe trip and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Feel free to reach out to us again and share any stories, and we will help you any way we can and trying to push in states where we may have some connections in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania for you.
Wonderful.
Okay,
wonderful.
Great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Erin. Take care.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.